Hey, what is up? Hello friends, my name is Noli and I like to read, and today I'm going to be reading books based off of my favorite male main characters. Now, most of these I would consider kind of like a book boyfriend. However, the first one you're going to hear and you're going to judge me, okay? I was in high school and I created the most significant emotional attachment to this character, to the point where I literally could not even talk about this series because I have rechanged it, rewired it in my brain to be what I need it to be emotionally well. Otherwise, I would be suing this author. Okay, and that, to just starting off, that was kind of heavy to start off with. The first favorite male main character that I'm going to be reading a book based off of is Maven Clore from the Red Queen series. Literally obsessed, literally love him. He was everything to me in high school, okay? And I recognize that that is a little bit messed up, okay? Don't judge me, it's fine. See, that's why I'm not calling it book boyfriends. That's why I'm calling it favorite male main characters, because I wouldn't necessarily call him a book boyfriend because I know, okay? However, he is still one of my favorite male main characters. So definitely reading one based off of Maven. And we're also going to be reading one based off of Dorian from the Throne of Glass series, because he is all-time book boyfriend, all-time favorite male main character that I've ever read about. Then we will also be reading one based off of Warner from the Shatter Me series and Jax from Once Upon a Broken Heart series. As you can see, all top tier series, all top tier male main characters, okay? How I got these recommendations, you may be wondering. I literally just went to the internet and I typed it in. I said, books to read if you like Dorian from Throne of Glass. And most of these were from Reddit, so I'm going to try to find the actual threads. However, it was months and months and months ago, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to find them, so you're just gonna have to trust me. But anyways, the book recommendation that we're going to be starting with, we're starting with Maven from the Red Queen series, and the book that was recommended for if you want a character like Maven from the Red Queen series was Three Dark Crowns by Kendare Blake. So very, very excited to see if these compare and to just get on in and see whether or not I can find a new book boyfriend, new favorite male main character while doing this video. Let's get to reading. Hi friends, I'm about a little over 60 pages into Three Dark Crowns by Kendare Blake right now. I've been reading it on my Kindle and have absolutely been flying through it. It is going by so quickly, but I'm really enjoying it. I will say the way that the book is set up, where you're being introduced into a lot of characters right now. We're following three sisters, and so as we're moving into each sister's story, we're being reintroduced to characters every single time we're moving. And so it's just been a lot at the beginning, but I'm sure as we get more into the story and as we get more used to these characters, it won't feel like too much, but just at the beginning it's been feeling like a lot. But as I said before, I'm still really, really enjoying it. Basically, you're following these three sisters who are training to be queens. They're going to have to fight each other to the death on their 16th birthday, and they each have these magical powers. So we have one sister, Mirabella, who is a elementalist, so she can control the weather. And then we have the next sister, Catherine, who is a poisoner. I'm sure you can guess what that entails. And then the last sister, whose name is Arsna, who is a naturalist, so animals, plants, things like that. It definitely is feeling like a dark fairy tale so far. I think I can tell the character who's supposed to be comparable to Maven Clore from the Red Queen series. It's so hard. I'm very early on, so I don't want to make any judgments right now, but as of right now, I wouldn't have necessarily said that he reminds me of him. But again, I'm sure that this person knew what they were doing when they were recommending this book. So I'm gonna wait and see, and we'll see what we think and if he ends up reminding me more of Maven Clore or not. So that's my update for right now. Let's go ahead and continue reading the book and see what we think. gate. I finished Three Dark Crowns and these are my thoughts. I thought it was good. It was not great. I was left feeling a little bit dissatisfied. I was a little upset. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I would probably give it like a 3.5, but that's not really what this video about. Was the character who I think they were implying was supposed to be like Maven Clore from the Red Queen series, like Maven. In my opinion, I would say like 30% so. I feel like it was more the situation and things that happened that reminded me of Maven more so than the actual like character's personality and stuff like that. So like yes and no. Again, I would say like 30% we would give this one, which would overall be a no for me personally. Didn't remind me of Maven. Obviously it reminded someone else of Maven though, so who knows, if I had read this without that in my head, maybe I would have been like, oh wait, maybe it does. And maybe throughout the rest of the series it seems more like Maven. But personality wise, I would say no, but it is hard with how much we're switching points of view and like the three sisters. It's spread out throughout the whole book, and so it's hard because you just don't get a lot of this character, especially because he's not even a main character. So, you know, again, maybe throughout the rest of the series I'll see more what this person was implying, but for me this one was a fail. However, I have since finished this last night and then started The Curse of Ophelia, and I think I'm about 20%ish through, maybe not quite there yet, but I'm enjoying that one so far. This is the one that is supposed to be like Dorian, which I'm trying so hard not to compare it to Thermoglass or Dorian because that is such a high standard. What do you mean? Like, Dorian is my all-time favorite male main character ever from any series. And so on the one hand, I'm like, okay, I don't want to compare it, but at the same time, that's the series that someone said to read if you want Dorian. Okay, so we're trying it out. I am enjoying the book so far. It's hard because the person that I think they're comparing to Dorian, I don't think is in the first book of the Curse of Ophelia series. I think it's more so in the rest of the series because there's talks about him. We've met him in some ways, but I could be wrong. It could be a different character, but the person that I think they're implying is like Dorian is not in the series yet. So it's hard to really draw any conclusions of whether or not they compare. But alas, we will see throughout this first book whether or not we get more of that character and if we can see the comparisons of, again, I'm looking more so for personality wise than like actions, I suppose, but maybe that'll be an interesting thing to see as well if like other people perhaps recommend based off of like actions and like what they do and the storyline overall rather than personality traits. So I'm very intrigued, but I'm so excited because regardless of whether or not this book ends up reminding me of Dorian, I've heard amazing things about this series, and the first book specifically doesn't have amazing reviews on Goodreads, but the second book has like a 4.11 or something like that. And so I was like, okay, well, even if I don't like the first book, I want to try the second book at least because it looks like people really love that one. So I'm very excited to continue with this series. Okay, let's get to reading. Hello friends. I finished The Curse of Ophelia about 2 days ago, and I have some things to talk about. First of all, let's talk about what this book is even about, because I realized I never did that. So basically in this book, you're following, who wants to guess, Ophelia. And Ophelia grew up in this town where she was raised to be a warrior, always believing that she was going to go through this thing that all warriors have to go through called the Undertaking. I think that's what it's called. I actually could be saying that wrong. I think it's called the Undertaking. And all people who wanted to be a mystique warrior go through this kind of like undertaking trial, essentially. And she was like raised, always planning on going through that, sees it as part of her like identity and purpose and goal in life to do this. And then, except 2 years ago, they shut it down. They're like, yeah, no more people going through that, because the like highest warrior of their time, who also happened to be her childhood sweetheart and boyfriend of the time, went through it and never came back. And so they stopped doing it 2 years ago. And then all of a sudden, on the night of Ophelia's birthday, an angel comes and gives her this like prophecy message of like what she's supposed to do, and that she needs to go do this undertaking. And so then she is like, I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna go find my long lost boyfriend, because everyone else believes that he's dead, but I am convinced that he is not actually dead. And so she's gonna go do the undertaking, and then she's gonna go find her boyfriend. And so you're basically following her journey as she goes to do that, and along with her found family group of friends that goes with her. Now, my actual thoughts on the book. I really enjoyed this book. Slow it sometimes, but it's really fast-paced other times. It's very character-driven. I really enjoyed our characters overall, and I am excited to continue the series. Like, I think it has the potential to build and be a 5-star series, but for now, I would probably give the first book a 3.5, just because there was so much setup happening, in my opinion, for future books. But whenever first books are kind of based off of being a setup, I feel like it just ends up leaving you a little wanting, because you're like, okay, I know I'm not getting the complete story right now. So for right now, it would be like a 3.5. Maybe someday I will go through, do a reread of this series, and then see how everything connects and be like, oh my gosh, this book was actually a 5-star. Who knows? But right now, I would give it a 3.5. And now talking about, does it actually remind me of Dorian? Was this recommendation a good one? Now, first of all, I will say the person that I thought it was supposed to like be compared to Dorian was not the correct person. It was a different person that I actually much prefer, and that we did get to see in the story more. And I really liked him as a character, but I wouldn't compare him to Dorian. There were certain aspects of their personality, like golden retriever, you know, type personality, that I definitely could see where someone was coming from. But I would actually say that the female main character reminded me more of Selena, specifically Selena. And just like how fierce she was, and the way that she was like, I don't know, felt responsible for like all of her friends and like them never getting hurt and anything like that. And just a lot of different aspects of her personality that reminded me more of Selena than the male character reminded me of Dorian. So those are my thoughts and my feelings on that. I would still say I recommend The Curse of Ophelia, but I wouldn't say, if you want to read a book with Dorian in it, that's the book I would recommend. Maybe again throughout the rest of the series I'll see more of where that's coming from. I have since started the last book that we're going to be doing in today's video, and this one has double the shot of like reaching the standards that we're looking for, because it was recommended for both if you like Aaron Warner from the Shatter Me series, and if you like Jax from the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. And again, I absolutely love both of these characters, so I'm very, very excited. Very like villain gets the girl type situation, which, if you can't tell, love that trope. So the last book for today's video is called The Kinder Poison by Natalie May, and I'm actually pretty far through this book so far, and I am eating it up. I'm absolutely loving it. I'm not going to give any spoilers to what my thoughts and my feelings are, but let's just say that like this one has potential for 5 stars. Like, eating it up, obsessed. But anyways, let's get back into reading it. I think I'll finish it today, and we'll see what my thoughts and my feelings are. Let's go. Hello friends, I am back, and I have finished The Kinder Poison by Natalie May, and I love this one. I think I'm gonna land on a 4.25 star rating. It was so good. Again, let's recap. What is this book actually about? Because of course I always forget to actually say what it's about when I start the book, but now I can tell you better about like what's it about without giving too many spoilers. Oh wait, okay. Basically, in this book, you are following Zaru, and Zaru is a whisperer. She can speak to animals, and they can speak to her, and it's great. It's fun. She works in a barn with her dad. However, whisperers are kind of seen as like a low magic type of thing, and so she's not seen as super powerful, not super admired in her world, and she's always dreamed of being like an adventurer and seeing the palace. And so her friend, who's like a little bit higher in magic, is like, okay, we're gonna sneak you into this palace because they're having this huge celebration for this competition that they're going to be having to choose the next ruler. And so there's two princes and a princess that are going to be competing in these trials to become the next king or queen. And so each of the princes and the princess get to choose kind of like helpers to help them throughout these trials or whatever, to be like their teammates. And Zaru gets kind of like mixed up in everything that's happening and ends up being a human for the competition. So now she is like, oh my gosh, how did I get here? What's happening? And it's all kind of crazy. And there's two princes' love interests. Okay, this book is like if you mixed Red Queen and An Ember in the Ashes, as well as just like something all of its own, and I absolutely adored it. I'm so excited to get into the next book. If you know me, I love a villain love interest, so I already have someone that I'm clearly rooting for in this book, but I don't actually know if it's the person that she's gonna end up with or not, because we're only one book in. But this is a trilogy and it's completed, and I am so excited to be continuing the series. Now, for the question of does it actually remind me of Jax from the Once Upon a Broken Heart series or Aaron Warner from the Shatter Me series, he didn't necessarily remind me of Jax, but there are certain things about his personality and his backstory that I would say remind me of Jax, just like very tortured soul, misunderstood royal, there's a love triangle, which all also apply to the Shatter Me series, and he definitely did remind me of Aaron Warner. Like, I'm so obsessed. I'm so excited to be continuing the series, especially like the way the first book is set up, that I'm like, okay, I could definitely see this being similar to Aaron and Juliet's story in the Shatter Me series. So I'm so excited. So excited to be continuing the series and seeing what's going to happen. And I would definitely say if you like Aaron Warner, then you may just like the villain in this book. So I highly recommend this series, checking it out. If you like Warner, or even if you like Jax, I would say, yeah, I can see where someone got that recommendation. It's just not the first person that popped into my mind. Mine would lean more towards Aaron Warner. But I would say that this one is definitely a success and definitely made the whole video worth it for me. I wasn't upset, even though Three Dark Crowns and The Curse of Ophelia didn't necessarily remind me of Maven or Dorian. I still had a great time with both of these books and think I will continue both of these series, especially because both of these series are completed and on Kindle Unlimited, I believe. Actually, that's wrong. The Curse of Ophelia isn't finished yet, but all the books that are out are on Kindle Unlimited, and I think it's supposed to be completed either this year or the beginning of next year. I could be wrong about that. I have to look a little bit more into it, but as of right now, I definitely plan on continuing the series. Definitely really enjoyed them, and will keep you updated on if they end up reminding me of like Maven or Dorian. But this one, definitely a success, I would say. Definitely read this if you like Aaron Warner. Okay, those are my thoughts and my feelings. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I love you. Jesus loves you. Hope you have a great day, week, life, whatever it is. And I will see you next time. Peace.